So you want to learn AWS, but every time you look at it, you just feel overwhelmed. I get it. We're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a real practical roadmap, a focused plan to actually get good at this stuff. Let's just jump right in.
Yeah, that number, it's a showstopper, isn't it? AWS has over 200 services, and you look at that and you think, there's no way. Do I have to learn all of these? And let me just tell you right now, the answer is absolutely not. That's probably the biggest myth we're going to bust today.
You know, this feeling is so common. I heard from one person who said they spent months studying, felt like they were working hard, but then they'd get into an interview and just freeze, totally lost. It's like trying to build a massive Lego set with no instructions. Well, that confusion, it stops right here.
Okay, here's the big secret, the whole game changer. You can build pretty much anything. We're talking 95% of real-world apps by mastering just 15 to 20 core services. Seriously, the rest, they're for super specific things, like talking to satellites or messing with quantum computers. You can learn that stuff later if you ever need it. So let's stop trying to boil the ocean and just focus on what actually works.
All right, so where do we begin? We start at the foundation. You can't run code, you can't store data until you've built a safe place for it all to live. And that means we got to nail security and networking from day one.
First up is the absolute bedrock of all things AWS security, IAM. You can think of it as the bouncer for your entire AWS account. I mean, every single thing you do, launching a server, reading a file, anything, has to get permission from IAM first. You just can't get around it.
And let's clear up something that trips a lot of people up. Users versus roles. It's actually super simple when you break it down. Users are for people. You, me, your developers. Roles? Roles are for your stuff, for AWS services. So if you need a virtual server to talk to your storage, you don't give it a username and password. No way. You give it a role that has just the right permissions.
The other piece of our foundation is the VPC, your virtual private cloud. The best way to think about this is like your own private locked building in the middle of a huge city. It's your space. You control who gets in and who gets out. This is where you're going to put your important stuff like databases to keep them totally safe from the public internet.
Okay, foundation's built. It's secure. Now, we need a place for our code to actually run. I mean, every app you use, from the biggest streaming service to a tiny little blog, it needs some kind of server. This is what we call the compute layer.
And the OG of AWS compute is EC2. At the end of the day, it's just a virtual server, a computer that lives in the cloud. If your app is the kind of thing that needs to be on and running 24/7, EC2 is almost always your answer. And it's incredibly powerful. You can even get beefy ones with massive GPUs for all that heavy-duty AI and machine learning work.
So, how do you pick the right one? Well, let's make a little decision tree. If you need a server that's just always on, that's EC2. If you want to run a little bit of code only when something happens, say when a user uploads a photo, that's Lambda. We call that serverless. Now, if you're working with Docker containers, ECS is your simple, straightforward answer. But if you need the full power of Kubernetes for a really complex container setup, then you'll be looking at EKS.
All right, we've got our secure network and we've got our engines running inside of it. But what about the most important part? The data. And you guessed it, choosing the right way to store your data all depends on what you're trying to do.
So let's talk about S3. This thing is the Swiss Army knife of storage on AWS. Just think of it as a bottomless hard drive in the cloud. It stores objects, which, don't let the fancy name fool you, it's basically just files. Pictures, videos, website backups, log files, pretty much anything and everything ends up in S3. It is ridiculously cheap and built to last forever.
Let me just give you a quick cheat sheet for storage. For all your general files, images, backups, you name it, you're going to use S3. Now, if you need a hard drive that's attached directly to your EC2 server, like a C drive, that's EBS. And what if you need a shared folder, like a network drive that a bunch of servers can all access at the same time? Well, that's what EFS is for. See? Simple.
And when it comes to actual databases, your two main players are RDS and DynamoDB. Think of RDS as your traditional database. Tables, rows, columns, all the stuff you use for complex reports and SQL queries. DynamoDB, that's a whole different beast. It's a NoSQL database built for pure speed and massive scale. It's perfect for when you just need to grab one thing really fast, like pulling up a user's profile with their ID.
Okay, so we've gone through the what, the core services for security, compute, and data. But honestly, that's only half the battle. The most important part of this whole roadmap is how you learn this stuff. And I'll tell you right now, the secret is not memorizing a bunch of documentation.
This is it. If you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this slide. You can watch videos all day long. You can read every article, but you will not truly understand this stuff until you get your hands dirty. The goal isn't to be able to recite facts. The goal is to build something that actually works.
So what should you build? Start with this classic project, a 3-tier web app. Why? Because it forces you to connect all the dots we just talked about. You have to build a secure network, your VPC. Then you put your web servers, your EC2 instances, in a private part of it. Your database, your RDS instance, goes in an even more private, secure part. And then use a load balancer out front to safely let traffic in from the internet. Do this one project and you've already mastered half of the core services.
So, once you've built that and you're feeling comfortable, what's next? Well, this is where you level up. This is how you go from just being an AWS user to being a true AWS pro. And it really comes down to two things: automation and innovation.
First, you have to learn infrastructure as code. Using something like CloudFormation, you can define your entire setup in a text file. No more clicking around in the console. Second, you set up CI/CD pipelines, so every time you change your code, it gets tested and deployed automatically. And then you get to the really fun stuff, playing with AI services like Amazon Bedrock to build smart features into your apps without having to be some kind of data scientist.
And this right here, this visualizes our entire strategy. Forget trying to climb that impossible mountain of 200 plus services. It's not a good use of your time. Instead, focus all your energy on that much smaller list of core services. Go deep on them, because those are the ones that are going to solve 95% of your problems.
Look, if you take anything away today, let it be this. The only real way to master AWS is to practice. You have to build stuff. And you know what? You're gonna break stuff. It's gonna happen. But that process of figuring out why it broke and how to fix it, that's where the real learning is. That's the stuff that sticks with you.
So there you go. You have the roadmap. A giant, overwhelming mountain of 200 services. It's really just a manageable hill now. So the only question left is, what are you going to build first?